The anger over the death of George Floyd spilled into many cities across the United States, not only in Minneapolis last night. So here is a look right now at the sights and scenes from across the United States.
This is not a protest. This is not in the spirit of Martin Luther King Jr. This is chaos.
It's not right, man. It's not right. Y'all pull us over for broken taillights, shoot us, harass us. We got kids.
I'm hurt. I'm angry. But I ain't scared. I ain't scared at all.
That's right.
So just some of the video that was collected in the overnight hours and through the day yesterday. And for more, let's bring in Natalie Nanowski today as she is tracking these demonstrations across the United States. So take us through what we've seen, Natalie.
Well, Michael, I'm going to start off in the West Coast in Oakland, California. It was the first night of protests there. And initially, they were peaceful. But then what happened, Michael, is thousands went into a highway. They completely blocked both lanes of traffic. As you can see right there, some of the cars even had to dodge the people so that they wouldn't be hit. That whole standoff lasted about 20 minutes. After that, we know that several businesses were set on fire. Now, these are larger businesses. We know that a bank was set on fire, also a Mercedes-Benz dealership, and a few other chains in those protests there in Oakland. Now, let's move over to Los Angeles, where over there it was the third night of protests in the city. And again, initially they started off very peacefully, but then soon into the night at around 8 o'clock in the evening, actually, protesters began hurling bottles and rocks at police. Then at around 9:30 at night, the LAPD declared for unlawful assembly for all of downtown Los Angeles and asked everyone to go home and asked businesses to close. However, that did take quite a while for people to kind of clear out the area. And then when they did, Michael, what was left behind was graffiti all over cars and businesses, and much of the graffiti said, "I can't breathe." And of course, we know that those are some of the last words that that came out of George Floyd's mouth before he died. Michael?
So those were the protests on the West Coast. What about the East and Midwest as well? Because certainly we saw the violence in many different cities.
That's just it. And I'm going to take you over to New York because that city there has seen protests for quite some time. This was, I think it was the second day of protests there. We know that there were injuries on both sides, on the sides of police and, of course, on the sides of protesters as well. We know thousands demonstrated outside the Barclays Center, and then things turned very violent. We know that police even responded with pepper spray on the protesters, and protesters there, Michael, responded by burning some police vehicles.